When you're actually up against a very Herculean task of actually managing the all sorts of possibilities, the permutations and combinations that could be the outcome of a mishap, you need to be watchful, beyond the guards of your abilities and of course responsibilities. Now, the present scenario of the computational fiasco of brain simulation has actually brought the entire civilization to a peril. What the scientists are up against is totally pathetic and very much under the ambit of abhorrence. And I don't know what actually makes them go beating about the bush when their mechanism of actually making the use of the control of variables is fetching no benefits. Instead, it's actually propagating errors of the order of beyond imagination. Then they should literally back off, which is not happening. Now, it is a very criminal and sinister attempt at actually proving at the responsiveness towards the task, and also criminal from this very standpoint of bringing the entire solution in the ambit of total annihilation. Okay, fine. They did the mistakes, and the outcome is going to make them pay. And I have no one to actually decide for the magnitude or the plenitude of the fallacies that are being propagated out of those miscalculations and misgovernance of the entire mathematical system. My job is to actually defend my stand, to ensure that the previously planted bomb of 90% depopulation gets totally wiped out, and I implant a new bomb that covers the entire population 100%. That includes me as well, given the fact that if depopulation actually occurs, I am left with no option than being dead. So I am defending my standpoint to actually ensure that the simulation does get stopped because of the consequences that could be triggered if it is allowed to prevail. And the scientists, the mathematicians, the computer scientists' standpoint is totally against my agenda. They are very much brazen with their outlandish, grotesque, or rather garish outreach towards the kind of mathematics they claim to know. There are several and numerous research papers that making the use of the control of variables involves errors, and you are dealing with a nonlinear system that is the quantum computations of the Bayes simulation. And of course, you have the disadvantage of the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum information. Which is very much liable to actually fetch you nothing but errors. Now, in such a scenario, people are looking up to me for remedies in the same ambit of the control of variables, which totally happens to be fraudulent in the light of the facts and figures, and more importantly, that you are dealing with a nonlinear system and the quantum information and digital information processing. And nobody knows what goes inside that simulation. What people are getting as interceptions are simply the perceptions, and they believe that perceptions happen to be the reality. Now, this is a very big question. Could an organism act under the influence of stimuli, given the fact that he should doubt each and every stimuli to be false? Of course, it's a very difficult task to act or to react, because the underlying philosophy happens to be that perception is not reality, and to actually presume and assume, or rather enforce or maybe impose the conditionality of perception to be the reality is totally bogus and likely to fetch more peril than rewards.